Hey everybody, welcome back to the shed. Thanks for stopping by and checking out my channel. Well, today is the day I get to reveal the latest arrival here in the shed. It's been a long time coming, but it's really worth it, and it's a neat little story as well. So I hope you'll stick around to the end and watch all of that. Meantime, if you've come here for my Vauxhall Forenza or Viva GT, don't worry, there's still plenty of content coming up on those cars. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, over the next little while, we have the Christmas holidays here in New Zealand, so that will give me a bit of opportunity to come out here and spend some time. So I'll be spending a bit more time on this girl, getting it down on the ground, and we'll see if we can take it for a drive down the road and blow some cobwebs out. In the meantime, I'm going to turn the camera around and show you what we've got here. So here we have it. This is all the fuss is about. This is the new arrival in the shed. It is a 1978 Chevy Corvette, and it's the pace car edition. So the story behind this is that it's come from Northern California, and it's actually come from my father-in-law, who used to own it. And due to various reasons, he has decided to part with the car and gift it to us, of which we are extremely grateful for. So it's spent a few months wigging its way over here, of course, on a shipping container, and it literally turned up here in New Zealand just a few days before we were actually due out to fly out and visit in-laws. And it turned up here. I had it delivered to our local shop, who put new tyres on it, which needed doing badly, and they serviced the brakes just so I could drive the car home from there. We were able to pick the car up from them the day before we flew out to the US, and got it here in the shed, parked it, took a few photos, and the next day we flew out for a month. So I didn't have any time to spend with it to go through it too much. I just had to look at it and see a few things I knew I needed, so I knew I had some shopping to do. And then in the few weeks that we've been back, I still haven't spent much time on the car. I've just been finishing off some house renovations, you know, that was started before we left, so I thought I'd better finish those off, otherwise I'll never get to them. And so the car's been sitting here waiting patiently, and as you can probably see, it's still just covered in dust and grime from the trip over, and I have not even washed the car off yet, so I'll be showing that in a future episode. For now, keep watching for a little bit of background on the car. It's a neat story, so I hope you'll stick around for that. And moving forward, we'll go through the car and see what it needs to get it complied for New Zealand roads, being left-hand drive, and just make a list of jobs up that need doing. Anyway, enjoy the next clip. All right, so we're here with Mr. Dave Keener. Dave is my, we'll say, father here in California, and we're going to talk about a car of his that he's owned and has subsequently kindly gifted to me and my wife, and had it shipped down to New Zealand, and we are now the proud owners of that vehicle. So I'm just going to ask Dave a few questions about the car and get a little bit of history on it. So, welcome.
Welcome.
So, when did you buy the car, and what made you decide to buy that car?
Well, I owned a Corvette back in the 80s.
What model Corvette was that?
It was 1978, but it wasn't the silver anniversary special.
Okay.
It was just a regular one. It wasn't the black and silver.
Yep.
It was a kind of a turquoise and silver. And I liked the car. And due to several different reasons, the divorce and everything else, I had to sell the car. I traded it for a pickup. So that was my first one. Now this one here I believe I bought it in 2003.
Okay.
And I seen it on eBay. It was in San Diego. So I bid on it, and I got the winning bid. So me and Susan, my wife, Susan, rented a car here. We drove to San Diego. I bought the car when I got to San Diego, and the guy said it run fine.
Yep.
And so took the rental car back, and we jumped in the Corvette and headed for California.
Right.
Well, and the reason I bought it is, one, I liked the car.
Sure.
And the other reason is Susan always talked about she wanted a Corvette.
Okay.
Well, she drove that Corvette, I think, maybe once. And she was scared to drive it because the hood was too long. She can't see over the hood.
Sure.
But for whatever reason, she wouldn't drive the damn thing. So, and I forgot how young I was when I owned the first one. It was easy to get in and out of.
Yeah, because you're a tall man, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm 6'6".
yeah.
And as you get older, you don't bend as that well. So, yeah, it was hard for me to get in and out of.
Because you told me you used to drive it with the T-tops off most of the time, is that right?
Yeah, that's about the only time I drove it, was with the T-tops off.
Right.
I didn't like to have the T-tops on because my head was always bumping the top. But, so anyway, we come back to California by way of Nevada, and of course we stopped in Reno, got stuck in a snowstorm, so we had to stay for 3 days in Reno, which is a terrible place to have to stay. Huh?
Yeah, no kidding.
And anyway, the heater in the Corvette wasn't working.
Okay.
So I went to the autos thing and bought one of those little portable heaters for the car.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it didn't work that great, but finally I got it on home.
Right.
And so and it run fine all the way
Apart from
home.
that, yeah, it ran
no
well.
problem.
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, it was a runner.
Good.
So that's how I got it.
Okay. And so, obviously, you had a chance to drive it back and get a feel for the car. And apart from the heater issue, were you happy with the car, or was there things on it you wanted to do to it, or you just?
Well, it needed a paint job.
Right.
It had the original paint on it, but it started cracking.
Right.
So I knew I had to do that. So I had it all painted. A guy in Modesto painted it for me,
Mm-hmm.
and he did a good job on
It
it.
does look good. Yep.
It is, he did a good job on the paint job.
Yep.
And then from there, I just kind of went along as I went. I put new carpet, I put new seats in it. Of course, I had to put new weather stripping. I had a guy put the weather stripping in for me, and he didn't do a very good job.
Right.
Ended up cracking one of the T-tops, so I had to buy another set of T-tops.
Mm.
Well, then I had a little miss in it, and it had 90,000 miles on it when I got it. And so I figured, well, I went ahead and pulled the engine and took it down to Al's machine shop, and I can't remember the guy's last name, but he was the best engine builder in Northern California.
Right.
He built a lot of, for drag boats and everything on it.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't, I had to pull the engine because he wouldn't pull the engine.
Okay.
So I had to pull the engine, take it down to him. He rebuilt it,
Wow.
and then I brought it back and had it put back in.
Okay.
And it runs good.
Yeah.
It's got a small cam in it,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like an RV cam, just enough. Because he told me, well, he didn't put enough in it to make it a hot rod, but he put enough in it that it would idle.
Give it some pep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
give it some pep. But
Yep.
so it's got a new engine. The only thing I haven't rebuilt in that car is the transmission. I've never touched it. I had a new rear end put in it
Mm-hmm.
because the old rear end, it was so low geared. At 60 miles an hour, I was turning, 3,500, 4,000 RPM.
Sure.
So it's not very good for a cruiser out on the road.
A beautiful mileage, yeah?
But then I put the higher geared rear end in it, and I think it's too high, but I mean it's never going to be a race car, but I mean it's a good cruiser.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, that's the only thing that hasn't been rebuilt on that car is the transmission.
Yeah.
So other than that, just little stuff here and there,
Sure.
And anytime you got a car that old, you know that there's always something to do on it.
Yeah. And so after you did the paint work and you got it tidied up, did you do any car shows with it? Did you go to any car events?
I did one car show with it, and I won first place
Right.
in its category. So I mean, I was happy with that. I'm not too much on car shows, too much sitting around and talking about the same old bullshit over and over again. So,
Sure.
but I mean, I did take it to a car show, and it was fun. But yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And so did you take it away for any road trips with Susan special, or was it?
well, I mean, I never. I drove it as far as Santa Rosa, which is about 250 miles,
Yep.
to I think it was a retirement party or something.
Mm-hmm.
For one of the guys I worked with, yeah. But that's about the longest I ever drove it.
Sure.
Was that because it was kind of like a third car, So I mean, it stayed parked most of the time.
Yep.
And then, as you know, I don't like working on cars, so that's the wrong thing for me to own. Because I mean, there's always something that needs to be done.
Oh yeah. But it's nice to have a toy in the garage, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I understand that. Well, I tell you what, we are sure grateful and thankful for the opportunity to own the car ourselves, and I'm looking forward to spending some time in it and making memories with Rhonda and Annalise and doing some road trips, and yeah, we're really going to have a good time in it. So
Well, and I know that you're kind of a car guy. You're always building on something, and you like working on them and tinkering with them. So I figured you'd be the best man to have it. And I figured Annalise would like it, and I'm sure Rhonda likes it too. So I mean, I hope you guys have a lot of fun with it. I mean, because fun ain't no good unless you're having it. So take it out, use it, drive it, have fun with it. It ought to give you a good time there in New Zealand.
Oh yeah, we are really going to enjoy it. So again, we thank you very much.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure to see that you get it. So, yeah, no, it's yeah.
It's a fun little car.
You'll have fun with it. it's great driving in the mountains, boy, I
Yeah.
tell you. Now I do, I took it up the mountains a few times, just short runs, maybe 100 miles or whatever. But yeah, it's great, boy. I love driving those Corvettes in the mountain around the curves.
Likes those corners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to running with a Porsche up in the mountains, and we was going down, some mountain roads.
Yep.
By God, we stayed right together. He never run off and left me, and I didn't run off and leave him. But I mean, we were doing some good driving and had a lot of fun. So
That's what it's about.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it's a good car.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
all in all, I probably never put. I doubt if I put 5,000 miles on it.
Really?
All
Yeah.
the time I owned it.
Wow.
The last 5 or 6 years, it's just sat out there in the garage. But
Well, we'll get it back on the road and get some use out of it.
there
And,
you go.
Look forward to it.
You bet.
All right.
Runner. Drive it like you stole it.
All right. Well, to finish up, what I wanted to do for you and for the car is as far as we're concerned, the car is your car, and we're just custodians of the car, and we're going to look after it, and we're going to really enjoy it. So down in New Zealand, as you you have personalised plates, and so we've chosen a personalised plate,
All right.
and that's what's going to go in the car.
Well, that's awesome. Keener than most.
So I hope
I
you
like that.
it. And
That is sharp.
here's a photo with it on the car for you to keep.
Well, I'll be damned. Huh. Yeah. Well, thank you.
So
that is awesome.
That's the tag it's going to have.
That is awesome. Well, I thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
I feel very privileged. All right.
So I think it looks pretty
So
good.
is this mine?
Yeah, that's for you to keep.
Oh,
Yes.
all right. I'll be damned.
So it's got the American flag on it, and that's exactly how it's going to look on the car.
There you
I thought
go.
that was a nice touch.
That is perfect. Well, thank you, Andre.
Thank you, sir.
There you have it. There's the history on this girl up to this point. Really pleased to have it here, and really looking forward to starting the process of getting it ready for New Zealand roads, getting it through compliance, and just spend some time driving it with the family. So keep an eye out for a future episode real soon on this one. Also this one here, I'm going to be working on again real soon. I've had new springs and shocks turned up for the front of it, so I'll be showing you that happening, putting it back down on the ground, and we'll take it for a drive and see if she still runs alright. So meantime, Merry Christmas, have a nice holiday break with your friends and family, stay safe, and we'll see you again real soon. Thanks for watching.